Hey everyone, it's Laura from Into the Moon House with your astrology podcast. And what I'd love to share with you today is what the opportunities are of the current sky. And I think it's especially helpful to look at the opportunity in your personal life at this moment. If you're new to me, I'm a spiritual life coach, teacher, and healer. I also love applying astrology to give you the big picture of what's going on. What are the pitfalls? What are the opportunities? And that is what we're doing in this podcast today. So I've been analyzing the chart for, well, I always do that, but especially around the coronavirus and seeing what kind of messages are tied with that as a collective, how we can look at things on like the world map, what is going on. But you want to look at the personal stage in your life, and that's one of the things I teach. It is, first of all, you do want to have an understanding of the big picture, what is going on. And because by being aware, you can position yourself or you can reposition yourself. A lot of people won't do that because they get very afraid if they see everything that's also happening. The key is, of course, to not get personally attached. I've got tons of content and healings for that. That's not what we're going to talk about today. I'd love to give you the mental overview and, again, the opportunities. Now, for example, Saturn just went into Aquarius. Saturn is restrictions. Is it a wonder that on the 18th of March, we saw a massive lockdown from all airports. European Union is closing the borders. You can't get into the European Union. Only an essential travel is allowed in a sense. So restrictions on air travel is something I can clearly see. For you personally, though, this also brings a lot of opportunities because this is the big picture. How is this playing out in your life? And I'll reframe it for you because Aquarian energy is very mental energy. It is big picture energy. It's the mind. Since Saturn is restrictions, what is it an excellent time for? It is actually creating an overview. Like, what is going on? What is your personal roadmap? Where are you going in your life, in your relationships, in your career? What is going on, and can you get a grip on those thoughts? So that could be an excellent opportunity to start mapping that out for yourself. And what is helpful if you're going to do that is to look at life areas. And then currently we also have a lot of final degrees of Capricorn with planets there. And this is why we're noticing so many things around this. Although the lockdown, the leadership is getting very clear. The travel is being, it's non-existent in a sense. So, again, we want to look at what is it going to mean for you. Pluto and Saturn together have been all about the leadership. It's completely been about like who's in power, what is going on, who is taking charge of the situations. Also, like shifts in power that you can actually see at this moment in time in regards to like China and Russia moving around, player like world player. You can actually already see this happening. A lot of astrologers have talked about this forever already. And shifts in power is something that we can see. I see that as a lower frequency in regards to this. So it doesn't mean it's not happening, it's not existing. Obviously it is. But I want to invite you to not go there, but let's go how we can look at leadership in your own life. But it starts as little with, again, taking the responsibility for what you bring into a community, literally at this point as well, right? So because you do matter, and we have to start there, and ideally you're already there after, especially if you're listening to this podcast. And for you personally, you can start examining who has the power in your life, and if there's any sort of destructive or abusive connections going on, then now can be an excellent time to start seeing them and to at least recognize them. With Pluto, Pluto is transformation, but Pluto is also death, and because it's the energy of death, letting go, and then transforming into something new. It has a strong relationship with power, and this is the planet I always see in power struggles when we are talking about, are you dependent on other people? Are you waiting for other people to rescue you? Are you saying they should be doing something while in fact, you should be in charge? Whenever we, and it's okay. I want to say that it's okay. It's completely normal. We've not learned this, and everybody does it. And sometimes it's a nice escape, like it's the others. But the minute you go into blame, the minute that's when you lose. So, and this is the energy of dependency. So it's okay to see that we're interconnected, we're connected with everyone, and you also want to see what you can influence and what you need to surrender into versus how are you taking charge of your own decisions? Are you at all? Now, I talked about this a little bit in the live stream. There's more live streams going on in the Into the Moon House Facebook group at the moment. I personally felt after almost a decade of working on one level a lot with people, that the end of last year, I felt time's up. Time's up. You have to. Things are changing. So for me personally, I have been shifting my focus in assisting more healers with their work, and more artists with their work they want to bring into the world. And this was all about, like, you have to start standing on your own 2 feet. You have to see that you are part of this world. Things do not happen to you. It is all about those responses that you're giving and taking charge of yourself. And to live the most fulfilled life, you have to know yourself. The more you know yourself, the better your decisions. What do you need to stand on those 2 feet? What do you need to feel independence? While also, again, realizing you're still part of the whole. You can examine this in your life. If your first response is, I am frightened, what's happening with my income, what is happening with my family, my loved ones, and I want to say that's completely normal as well, then the easiest way is still to surrender into the situation. And sometimes, or often, it is, feel all the feelings, please feel all the feelings, and then you have to regather yourself so you can refocus. That is Pluto. Pluto can help you with transforming areas in your own life. Now, because it's still in Capricorn, Capricorn rules business and career. So a lot of people are actually clearly feeling this in the career area. So it's also an opportunity to, again, I've been talking about, it's time to come home to yourself. It is, it's time to center and find that center. And if you're listening to this podcast, I'm assuming that you're capable of getting there. It is also completely okay. We're all at different levels in our development, basically. If people do not see that, it's not about the other. Remember, it's about you. Coming home to yourself means, okay, so what are those gifts and talents that are there? What are your dreams, desires, visions? Do you want to create or bring something into the world? What is your soul telling you? All of those things are very important. So if we listen to those two planets, and it's just two I've mentioned, now we already have the ability to get to grips with your mind, with the bigger picture, seeing how you relate to humanity, and on a very personal level, you can actually create a plan around this. You are being offered the opportunity to release and let go and even transform areas in your life that have no longer been working. Well, again, humanity is the main thing, and is like seeing that you're part of the whole is the main. It always was. You're really being asked to see this. That is... now there's more. Because, and I've talked about this in the January podcast, and I'll link all the recent podcasts below on the astrology, because it will be in play for the coming months anyway. So, if not the full year. I've been talking about awakening the ancient knowledge and gifts, which is Jupiter in Capricorn. Jupiter is the philosopher, it's the teacher, it's not so much, well, it can be the guru, but not so much. It is, Jupiter relates to religion, but every religion, to culture, and to really see all of it again. It is... It is a spiritual planet as well. It's a planet of faith. It's a planet of optimism. And here I'd love to go into that part around Jupiter relating to purpose, Jupiter relating to soul purpose, and Jupiter relating to the spiritual gifts and talents that, again, are unique to you. If you've not been aware so far of you having a unique skill set, then... well, then hopefully this helps. The key, of course, is like, how do you uncover that skill set? Because there's so many layers on top of that many people won't see it. I've just finished Inside Delphi, which I host only once a year. And it's a beautiful journey into the self. And it's giving you techniques on how to discover all of those gifts and talents that I promise you are right there. They're present right in front of you. They've just not been valued. You have not valued them. You've not seen them. You don't. It's like a treasure being buried. And again, the further you are on your path, the easier it is to see them, to know yourself, to know, I'm really good at this, and actually I'm not so good in that. And it's okay. If you're just starting your journey, if you're just waking up to spirituality, to being connected, to unity, oneness, to being allowed to just be you without whatever anyone else is saying, then, well, you've got a little bit more work to do, because you didn't start chipping away. So the treasure is still buried in a sense. But this time, and especially if you're staying in the home, because the home is the representative of the soul. How can you bring out and connect to your personal gifts and talents? There's always a very, very small whisper that is nudging you into a direction that's suiting you. And this is something else I've talked about as well: foundations. Foundations. How are your foundations? How are your habits and routines? How well does it fit into into taking care of yourself, into well-being, into creating an environment in which you can thrive. We all know this from plants and trees. Not every environment is going to be a match to you personally. And sometimes or always that's also found in landscape. Landscape and environment has a different meaning, absolutely. And like a city is a very different energy than out in the country. Temperatures, differences, all of this contributes to your well-being or to detriment. And when we try to do all the same things or be all the same things, then not everyone will blossom and some clearly perish. And as a society, we have to learn to work more with that diversity and uniqueness. And again, move away further and further from blame, because just blame or just trying to fix something actually is not helping the energy at all. It's not like you're then rebuilding. Here's the key if you truly want to rebuild. And then here is how it's done. If your focus needs to go, so this is law of attraction, this is magic, this is spiritual law, this is, and it's even common sense, but it's more than that, because it is how connected you are with the energy. It is understanding the flow and the direction of the universe, its alignment, and that is. It's going to sound so simple. This is what everyone means when they say, like, where your attention goes, energy flows. It really is like that. So if your focus is on rebuilding, on building something on a healthy foundation, you can do that in your personal life. Obviously, we're being asked to see as a society what is not working at this time. So a lot of the foundations and the structures are no longer helping. And as humanity, we've been given signals and signs over and over and over. And for a large part, they've just not been applied. So now we're on a complete lockdown almost. Wise ones will see how the structures can be rebuilt and how we can build a healthy place. But I said to you, I want to make it personal. So what does that mean for you personally? This means that you can examine in your own life, what structures and foundations have you built that are not building, and can you now start rebuilding it? If you focus on the rebuild, if you focus on what is working, if you focus to what feels good from you as a center, you have to take care of every aspect of yourself in your own life if you are wanting to be there for other people, and or at least try to get there as much as possible, so you can remain balanced and find the center within in times of turmoil. This is also how you build something that gets stronger and that can last, and it's calm, quiet, peaceful. So let me show you as well. If the focus is on just trying to fix all the time, then that is what you're doing. That means you create more and more and more of the fixing, or at least the same of the fixing. At some point, you have to switch your mind and focus more time and energy on what it is you're building in an as balanced way as possible. Because everything is always happening in the now. This is it. This is where you are. Are you taking note of your environment? Can you see how you're sitting, walking, through your life? Are you aware of your neighbors, the village and towns you're part of, the country you're part of, the worlds? Can you truly see and know that you're part of that you're connected? And it's in the now, in your own life as well. So if you desire change, if you want to work with this energy, then pause and see, where are you at this moment in time? What does your life look like? Are you willing to start working with the energies? Yes or no? That is the invitation of this time. And I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. Please let me know any comments, any questions. I am always happy to answer that. In the Into the Moon House group, we've done and we are going to do more healings for the collective, from beautiful, gifted healers that are my friends. We've done a Reiki healing to assist with empath stress relief by Michelle. And if you want to work one-on-one with me, if you think like, hey, where am I in my life? What is my purpose? What are the purpose points? Send me a DM or a PM, because I, of course, offer astrology readings. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being you. And I'm sending you a lot of love. This was Laura from Into the Moon House.